just like that, the Rent-A-Riots are back. Here we are, Summer of Love 2.0. You can't make this stuff up, folks. They don't have anything else in their trunk of tricks. This is it. This is all they've got. They've bricks, face masks, fireworks. This is the party of destruction. They're not going to change. They can't legislate their way. They can't be diplomatic. They can't engage in conversation. When they don't get their way, they are the perpetual 2-year-old throwing a tantrum. You know what? I don't even, as if we didn't know that this was not going to happen. Trump won again, just like the last time, and suddenly the riots started from the East Coast to the West, from the West Coast to the East. In fact, tonight I was just viewing. There's supposed to be down in Chicago, downtown Chicago. There's going to be an event, a big event. Of course, it's going to be all the crazies. You might want to stay away from there, but it's called Mass Mobilization from LA to Chicago. Ice out. Ice out. Tuesday, that'd be today, 5:30 p.m. at the Federal Plaza. So you'll want to make sure that you avoid the Federal Plaza tonight. You know what? There's not going to be a really big monologue because I just want to get into discussing this for about an hour with no other than the man, the myth, the legend of the Ryan Mack Show, and also of boilingpoint.live, Ryan Mack.
Howdy.
There is Ryan. Look at that. Last week it was Elon and Trump, and now this week as if it wasn't. I mean, they were just, and I don't know what triggered this because they had to figure out where to start with the Rent-A-Riots. And I'm assuming, I don't know if you've seen the map. I received something from Gun Saves Lives, and it was scatter plotted with all of the different locations. Scatter plot, obviously, I just pulled that out of my hat. If you know what a scatter plot graph is, it's showing all the different locations on the map of the United States where there are going to be the Rent-A-Riots. They're calling it No Kings. No Kings, because, of course, Trump is a king. I don't know how that works because we've got judges running our country right now. So I'm confused, but there it is.
Look at that.
You got it, Ryan.
Ask and you shall receive, sir.
There it is, right there.
NoKings.org, the big NGO that's funding these riots across the country, but they're also operated by Indivisible. If you guys know those NGO names, get to learning them because that's the name of these groups that are funding these.
Well, and these NGOs, hold on, I'll put us back on screen. These NGOs, this is what they were given tons of money before Biden exited the White House. So that whole dumping, and we know that to be the case because we just covered it last week. There were $93 billion dished out by, what was it? Not the Department of Energy. Was it the Department of Energy? Where she offloaded about $93 billion to different NGO organizations because of under the guise of the Green New Deal, because everything is the Green New scam. But this is how they are funded. They have been funded by the federal government, so most of them have huge bankrolls. And now we're seeing the impact that those NGOs have because they're going to fund going forward for the next 3.5 years. Get ready, hold on tight, but that's not going to happen this time, Ryan. I think that we're going to see that there's a new Trump in town, a new sheriff, mainly that Trump's going to put this down. That's evidence right now. Marines are on the ground in California. National Guard was deployed by Trump. We're not listening. Don't listen to Mayor Bass. Don't listen to Governor Newsom. I can't even say Newsom anymore because I can't. It's programmed, but we're not going to listen to him. No, that's a no go right now. We're not going to listen to you because what are you going to tell us other than the same old? I mean, Senator Tammy Duckworth's out there talking about how this is all illegal and Trump doesn't have the right to do that. No, Trump has the right to that. He is the commander in chief.
Yep.
We are currently being invaded by foreigners, illegal immigrants. That's what an invasion happens when your country's being invaded. You deploy your troops because they are sworn in to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States from not only foreign but domestic enemies.
Absolutely. And I think Trump shouldn't wait to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. I think that it's already here. I think you've got 20 million illegals already in the country, and I would say probably half of them are criminal beyond just being here illegally. And I don't think you should wait. The longer you wait and let this fester, the worse it gets. I think you stop it before it even starts to spread.
Well, and just quickly highlighting because I want to grab this. There's a video out there. I mean, it's about a minute 47. I think I can pull it up fairly quickly, but basically, it's this gal, and she's like, connect the dots with some of this stuff because now it's all starting to make sense. How it comes together. Where were we back in 2016? Or 2017, I should say, when all of that started back then, the Rent-A-Riots started. We didn't know who the players were, how they were, organizing themselves. Now, of course, through the help of the Department of Government Efficiency and uncovering what USAID did or has done, we're starting to see this thing really take effect. And I've got her right here. I'm gonna have to make sure I get her to start over before she starts going into her rant, but she does a very good job. Credit where credit's due. This is from, if I want to make sure that I get the page right, it is James Lee. James Lee. This was on his X page. I don't know this gal. I wish I actually knew who this was because she does a great job of explaining this. So here she goes. If I hit the play button.
Is wild. A mysterious black truck just passed out all of these expensive bionic face shields to protesters in LA, and the news caught it on camera. I zoomed in and found out this is the UVEX bionic shield. These are not cheap. They're around $45 to $65, and you can't just get them in bulk. But one place that sells them is Walmart. And why is that important? Because there's a new protest being promoted called No Kings on June 14th. And even celebrities like Chrissy Teigen are posting it. And it's in magazines and newspapers. And guess who's behind this message? Christy Walton. That's right, one of the billionaire heiresses, a part of the Walmart family. Now, I don't know why they would be behind that protest against President Trump, but remember, just less than 3 weeks ago, President Trump tweeted about the whole tariff situation, saying Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars of last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. So, is it possible that maybe the Walmart family didn't like that and now they're finding ways to make their voices heard? Or is this just a big coincidence? As always, let me know what you think about all of this down below.
All right. Well, we'll let you know how we think about it. So Ryan, when we talk about the Rent-A-Riots, we know that they're funded. We know that these NGOs have a big part of it because you were just disclosing that. And once again, where do they get their funding? Where do they get their money? I've got another piece I want to share with you that Mrs. Producer pulled up because David Harris Jr. put it out, kind of geocoding. That's another thing that we have on our side now is since we control the agencies, the alphabet agencies, we're going to have unbelievable data that's going to allow us to understand no different than what happened during J6, right? They could put the umbrella around Washington D.C. and start picking different IP addresses, right? And knowing who was there, where these phones are, who owned the phone. Uh, Simply sending an active duty military without Congress is a tough legal argument and a dangerous precedent to set. He needs to do this by the letter of the law and declare
Yep.
the Insurrection Act. Yep,
That's what we were just saying. Yeah.
we were just saying that, Donnie.
They're
Yep.
only in there currently as a backup to the National Guard, and they're only limited to federal damage to property, that kind of thing. So they're very limited in the scope before the Insurrection Act is invoked. So yes, Donnie, you are correct. He's going to do so with the fullest extent of the law he has.
Well, and now we know that, I mean, they're not even hiding it, as you just showed in that graphic of that scatter plot. We should put that back up again, because that's coming to a city near you, and there were thousands of them. Let me get rid of my screen. I think you can't share multiple screens, but there are going to be hundreds of these events, the No Kings event, this Saturday. And in certain places like Bloomington Normal, at the Bloomington Center for Performing Arts, that's where I live. I live in the Twin Cities, Central Illinois. It'll be mostly blue-haired, green-haired women who are well over 60 years of age, holding their No King signs and declaring that all these things are so terrible, and that everything that Trump is bad. Not only is Trump bad, but everything that Trump is doing is bad. Of course, Ryan, did you get it pulled up?
Yep, sure did.
Nope, I can't see it.
Oh, I got two screens I got going on. Here we go.
Nope. There you go.
Wait, maybe not. It should be. I had it.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait. It's valuable time, valuable real estate here at the DPP show, but we'll
There we
wait
go.
for you. There it is. Add to stage.
So you notice the big stars in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
Those are the highly concentrated areas of people where they could reach the most.
Yeah. Yeah. So out here on the East Coast, up in Minneapolis, or no, that's Chicago.
Chicago,
then
Atlanta,
down in
you got-
Nashville,
looks like
down in
Raleigh, Charlotte.
Houston. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And of course,
Yeah.
out in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're going to whoop this thing up, and it's not going to go away, Ryan. It's going to be weekend after weekend after weekend, and ultimately, how do you establish law and order? And it's a delicate process, right? We have the First Amendment right to peacefully gather and to protest and to assemble, but there is nothing peaceful about what is transpiring right now in LA, and soon to be, it sounds like, in Chicago tonight. There's nothing peaceful about it. And who are these players? It blows my mind away that someone who has committed multiple crimes in our country, the first crime being they entered illegally, have the audacity to go to these riots and probably aren't even being paid. Maybe they are. I don't know if they are or not. And show up, and then suddenly the authorities from ICE are like, hey, there's the guy we're looking for. He's standing over there on top of a car that's burning, waving a Mexican flag. Oh, our job's too easy. Let's just go apprehend him.
Yeah.
I mean,
or the guy in the pickup delivering the bionic masks. He was also unmasked too.
Yeah. He was.
They're not real bright for that. I'll give them that.
Well, and ultimately, and I want to make sure that we stay a little focused today, because it is the Rent-A-Riots, and it is how they're going to fund the Summer of Love 2.0. And this is all we're going to see as we walk this thing out, and especially, unfortunately, in the larger cities, as the temperature rises. I learned this from my law enforcement son-in-law from Metro PD in Nashville. Shout out to Jimmy. I don't know if he's able to catch us. I'm sure he will. He probably will listen in later, especially if his beautiful wife was on board with us. That be my daughter, Hannah, from The Right Perspective. But Jimmy says this, every summer the heat comes up in Nashville, in the inner city of Nashville, Tennessee, and sure enough, crime just starts to percolate and boil.
Mhm.
And you don't need any type of initiative to make crime happen during the summers. We know that in Chicago, to the north of us, to the northeast of us. When do most of the violent crimes happen? Well, when people can be out and about through all hours of the night, uh, carousing because they're not restricted by the cold. And sure enough, now you have the what do you want to call it? The accelerant. Yeah, let's call it the accelerant. You know, they are interjecting themselves, these radical leftists who want to support this, like this article or this young lady was talking about the Walmart family. I find that interesting that the Christie Walmart, the Christie Waltons, and I think the other heir apparent, and I have it here. I have his name. I was
Mhm.
just looking at this. It's the grandson. But all these grandchildren of Sam Walton aren't capitalist. They're not conservatives. They're they're leftists, which is mind-boggling. And what kind of what makes that happen? I mean, that just blows me away. They never built Sam's Club or
Mhm.
Walmart. Uh,
Mhm.
but yet they've sided with, like JB Pritzker, they've
Yeah.
sided with the radical left. And why is that? Because you tell me, Ryan. What do you think?
Well, when you're an heir of a multi-billion-dollar company and you don't really put any sweat and tears into it, you're just there for the money.
Yeah.
But it seems to be the case, the heir of the Fox News empire, the Murdoch family, they're not really conservative either. So what is it that draws these leftists to control of these organizations? Is
Yeah.
it really money, or is it more to it, like their own little utopia of socialism? I mean, that can't be fully the case, but certainly money plays a tie when you don't have to work for it.
Yeah. I just realized something, Ryan, and I want to get back to that because I think it's a good point because ultimately, the world as we know it has really shifted, and people, who suddenly have a gazillion dollars without doing anything for it
Mhm.
are now funding uh they are leftists because the Democrats and most Republicans are crony capitalists. Yes, they can
Mhm.
donate their way to influence in government. Yes, yeah.
Yep, bingo.
See, see, Donnie should be on here. We should put Donnie on the show doing that in the side because he comes up with some good stuff.
Yeah.
It's first world privilege. Yeah, I like that. My Mrs. Producer put out it's first world privilege because we get so accustomed. I mean, but that's just part of it. Um, but I do believe we have somewhat built that as the undergirding, and it is a sandy foundation. It is not built on the principles of the foundation of what this country's about. I mean, Donnie and I have had many conversations over the years through the different elections that's where we've seen this thing go. I mean, you know, I am a big proponent to uh ballot access. I would like to see fair ballot access to as many candidates from different ways of different walks of life. The two-party system is does not lend itself. Um, it's unfortunately the two-party system is not a two-party system and hasn't been for decades. But I don't understand the entire essence of how much they're alike, but how much they're different, which creates all the chaos because one thing that both of the parties do very well, and that's demonstrated by the current national crisis we have with our debt, $37 trillion. They
Yep.
have managed to just bury us. Now, how all that plays into what is happening, in California and soon to be in a city near you, there is something. that plays off that when you see people acting in an uncivilized manner. Now, granted, it's fueled by the open border policies, which, let so many foreigners, foreign nationalists, illegal immigrants into the country. It's like the I don't think that anyone could script a better invasion without rolling tanks over a border than what happened during the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What have you got
Yeah.
up there? I see something down there. I've
Well,
been
it's
watching it.
exposing the indivisible couple behind a lot of these smaller NGOs that are funding these operations.
The indivisible couples. Why is it not popping up? I gotta hit this screen. There we
There we
go.
go. So this is Ezra Levin and Leah Greenberg.
Oh,
They
wow.
are the young Jewish couple behind Indivisible, and Indivisible is a Marxist organization, and they are bankrolling a lot of these riots around the country. And they're behind No Kings. They're probably behind Act Blue and All In. Some of these other smaller players, like the one that took on our local election at the college level
Yeah.
with Desi, they're
Yep.
probably bankrolling that one too. They're all snaked together. A good account to see on X for all the data, and even the website would be Data Republican.
Oh, yeah.
Because you
I
can
like
find
data.
the tax numbers from all these organizations and find out where the money's flowing to. And the more we expose these players, the more we cut off the heads. And I think even Kash Patel has a hint on what's going on with these funding. So look for more updates on Kash and see if he can choke off the money supply.
So meet Ezra Levin and
Oh,
Leah, whatever
Yep.
her name is.
Yeah. So
So
those are the and it's funny because we talked about it
is
before we went
Ezra
live.
is Ezra related to Mark?
No, I
Ah.
doubt it. Or is it the long lost son?
So this brings me back to it appears to me, and once again, I don't want to profile somebody, but I am going to be a little racisty. Are the both of that couple? They're Jewish people, right?
Yeah. Jew hating Jews.
Jew hating Jews, which
Yeah.
Mrs. Producer brought up earlier that word once again the word Nazi has come back full force, and it's funny that no, that we are the opposite of Nazis because your party on the other side of the aisle, the radical leftists, hate the Jews. You are the Jew haters. You are the kill the Jew crowd. So I'm trying to figure out how we become the Nazis because that's what the meaning of the word Nazi for the most part is hating the
National
Jews.
Socialist, the same group of people that cry socialism beats fascism. These are the same idiots that believe that one way to beat fascism is more socialism. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. The communism, socialism, fascism, Marxism, it's all the same thing, and it's destructive. And it killed almost 160 million people globally. So you have to wonder what. And I saw a video. I don't know if we tagged in our group chat, but socialism hasn't been tried here. Democratic socialism hasn't been tried effectively in America. It didn't, not Venezuelan kind, not the Cuban kind. It hasn't been run here. There's only one way, one true way of socialism. And yes, when implemented, it kills millions.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder what their other like agenda is behind this. Is it Trump, or is it against the whole Republican way of government? Or is it simply they just want to do something different because they hate capitalism and everything America stands for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and I think it also has something to do with Hannah might join us.
Like that's a multi-prong approach, right? Because they hate
Well,
capitalism,
and
they hate
yes,
freedom, they hate liberty, they want more control of a
they hate
centralized government.
they hate the
Yes.
Constitution, but they
Yes.
become all of them for the most part. At least the elected officials have become constitutional attorneys lately, and
Right.
they
Yeah.
as far as
Which
interpreting.
I believe, and I know like Dan used to do this too, but choosing your words deliberately. when
Yeah.
you're speaking about the Democrat Party. I
Yeah.
believe they should be really designated as a terrorist organization. And I don't say that lightly because you have an entire party hell bent on taking out the American way of life. You have them taking on the illegals and the open border. You have them destroying the Constitution and the principles of the foundation, your education system, your economy, everything the America way of life, they're hell bent on destroying and
Yeah.
flipping into something that they want. This utopia of everything is free for everybody.
And you hit up on the head. It is the tentacles
Mm-hmm.
of how many things. I mean, it's almost mind-boggling because not only is it the national debt, not only is it the swamp, not only is it the deep state, not only is it the blob, as Mike Benz refers to it. I've been listening to Mike Benz lately a lot again,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously he's been predicting all of this for months and months and months. Everything he goes. I was watching a little bit of Sean Ryan. Uh, Mrs. Producers, you can. I don't think I sent Hannah the link, so she said she could jump on for a minute. It would be good to get her insight to this. She's kind of like that gal that was doing the video earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but it is multi-pronged and it's multi-tentacle. However you want to describe it, uh, it's everything. They're mad about everything, and it's anything to do with the foundation of this country, and they're tearing at the every fiber. And I don't think they're really uh, uh I don't think that they're I guess there's not one thing that they really support, because as soon as that goes away, they move on. They bounce around a lot. I mean, and that's why I think that Trump, you know, is handling it better than anybody. I was just listening to him at he ended up at Fort Bragg today. We're coming up on the 200th celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, which is kind of a cool little factoid that the United States Army actually was formed before the country was a country. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, hence the reason that it's 250 years. We'll celebrate 250 years next year, uh, for our nation and the Declaration of Independence, blah blah blah. But the Army itself has been intact for 250 years this year. Hence the celebration on June 14th, Flag Day as we know it, but also there will be a big celebration honoring our armed services, or specifically the United States Army, here on Saturday in Washington, D.C. But yeah, there is not one thing that we can really focus on, and so many things get lost. One of the things that my wife and I went and viewed, and I know you probably did too, Ryan. Did you go see Sound of Freedom last year?
I did. Yep.
Well, what happened to that whole theme of the human trafficking? And I pulled up a piece from, and I have it here. It's a little longer. I don't know how much of it I want to play, but it's from Dr. Phil, actually sat down. Sean Ryan was covering this too. And I mean, there's just so many bizarro things out there, which goes to show you the world. We are the media now. I think there was Elon put something up about the fact that the number one source for news right now is X. It has surpassed everything else, which is, the Data Republic.
Mm-hmm.
That's all of these sources, the rapid response, all these things that aren't your traditional news sources. It's because of X, and it's because Elon really, by purchasing X, opened everything up to a free speech platform. But let me grab this real quick and I'll play this. Dr. Phil, watch again. Here we go. Oh, sorry.
What are the focuses that you have going forward?
He's interviewing Tom Homan.
what I think is going to prove to be one of the biggest rescue operations in the history of this country. You're setting out to rescue as many of these missing children as can possibly be found. And at this point, the number is probably underreported, but a pretty good estimate is 300,000 children that have just fallen through the cracks. They've just come across the border and nobody knows where they've gone. A lot of the Border Patrol people have told me that a disturbing number have been shipped off to the same addresses in big cities, which just doesn't make sense unless that's a clearinghouse to put them into forced labor or prostitution or whatever. Some of them have probably found their way to family that's here. There's no question about that. Doesn't mean that they're legally here legally, but not all of them are in horrible situations of forced labor or forced prostitution. But we have to, it would be naive to assume that a fair number of them are not in a hellish existence right now.
Yeah, we found, like I say, we're around 8,000, I think, now. And many of them were safe with family.
Yeah.
Some weren't. And you're exactly right. We get a report every week on how many kids we're finding where they, and a lot of reports come back and say, well, we checked the address. It's a park. We checked the address. It's a gas station. And that, again, a failure of the last administration not properly vetting these sponsors and the information given to them. So we're looking for them. But when the information you get from this case is the sponsor, here's this address, let's go find the sponsor and the child. And you pull up and it's a park or it's a Home Depot, right? Say, well, here we go. Now, how do we find them? And that's the hard part. We talked about this before. The hardest part is finding somebody that don't want to be found. So since a child don't have a digital footprint, they don't have credit cards to pay bills or have driver's license or any of that stuff, we've got to count on a digital footprint of the sponsors. And the sponsors are giving false information, giving false ID, giving false addresses. It's a hell of a challenge, but we're out there every day looking for it.
When you find those children, they're going to be given.
They're going to be giving help. I just wanted to play that because it goes on for another three. It goes on for another 3 minutes. But Ryan, obviously, this is a perfect example of how many things are out there right now that our federal agencies are dealing with. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan. I mean, can you imagine in the flux of all of that? Then you have this over here. We were just talking about all the issues of uncovering the pipe bomber of J6, the Russian collusion hoax, Biden, the auto pen. I mean, all of the things that they had to deal with before. Now, the advent of Rent-A-Riots 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, Summer of Love 2.0. It's mind-boggling. Tom Homan went on to say, I take it very personally. I'm a father, like I am, with daughters, and knowing that human trafficking, and it's part of that because that's what Epstein was all about. It was human trafficking. How despicable is the world? And ultimately, the illegal immigration of what we saw during the Biden era, the Biden regime, was all about human trafficking and the influx of people into the country in order to manipulate the outcomes of elections and so much more. I mean, okay, she's on stage. There she is. As I said, I saw her jump in. There she is.
Hey.
Hi.
So what is your take, Hannah, on all this?
Which part?
Human trafficking as a way of either bankrolling the riots going on or just a way of life in general. for the Democrat Party.
Oh, well, I think what's funny is that, wow, these Dems are taking a big stand on that we need a riot, but none of them are in the streets rioting, and so that's why I just find it hilarious. They want them distracted. They're pushing a narrative and a way to keep these people from. I mean, I think I've said it like 6 times on this podcast. Look over here. Don't
Mhm.
look over here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep doing this, and we're going to do this. But we also want you to push our agenda so we can keep doing this. Because if
Mhm.
this doesn't happen, if illegal immigration goes away, we can't sex traffic anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And they lose. So people don't understand this too. I think we talked about it earlier, and I think I mentioned it before. The census is a big deal for representation in Congress, and it doesn't just
Mhm.
go by citizenship, at least that it should. It goes by population.
Mhm.
So one of their goals is to get a mass populated area so they can count heads and bankroll their numbers in Congress. What goes away when you have 20 million people go away out of the country? Those congressional seats
mhm.
and Congress to Democrat power. So this is a lot about congressional power.
At
for the
about
Democrat Party.
about 748,000. If
Mhm.
you remove 748,000 illegal immigrants out of a congressional district,
Mhm.
or out of a state, I'm sorry, not out of a
Yeah.
congressional district, out of
By
a state,
2030, they could lose. These states could
You
lose
could-
at least 4 seats or
you
more.
could lose that many congressional seats.
The problem is that there's a bigger agenda, and people are just focused on the crying children and the separation of families. And I think what's so funny is that if a American citizen breaks the law, no matter if they have a child or not, they're going to jail. Why is it any different for an illegal immigrant? If you're claiming to be a citizen of America, you have broken a law, you are going to jail.
Mhm.
You will be separated from your children. Just like if a single mom in Nashville, Tennessee, where I live, who has no surrounding families, if she breaks or she commits a crime, she's going to jail. It doesn't matter if she has a child or not.
She'll be
Separation
separated from her family.
is not just exclude or included for illegal immigrants. If you claim that you're an American citizen, welcome to America. You broke a law.
Mhm.
But it's also funny. Like I literally was on ChatGPT today, going, "What's the immigration policy for Sweden? What's the immigration policy for the UK? What's the immigration policy for Gaza? What's the immigration policy for Israel?" Guess what it is? If you're deported, you go to jail. You're sent back. You can't come back. Why is it any different? It's so ironic that the Democrats want to be socialist in every single way: healthcare, government,
Yeah.
lifestyle. But when it comes to immigration, oh no, we can't do that. We can't adopt that. We can't do that. We're the laughing stock of the world right now. And that's
You know,
people are thinking, first of all, people are thinking that we're boo-hoo America. First of all, we're a free nation. We have it better than half of the world. Nobody's looking at us and going, poor them. People are looking at us and going, we have lost control of our country.
yeah.
Half of our country. The other half is normal and just wants
Well, so the interesting thing about this influx, obviously over the last 4 years, and all the ramifications of the things that have come out of an open border, um, which we know once again because it was talked about many times over, especially Bongino hit upon it, the demographic destiny, replacement theory. They had to figure out how to change the electorate. That's a part of it, but I still think that there's something else that is so much bigger than that, because we have still, like you had just mentioned, enough folks that put President Trump back into the White House. And I think ultimately, and I told my Mrs. Producer this the other day. Sorry, I got a little itch here. I told Mrs. Producer this the other day. What is their end game? What are they really moving towards? This is the Thanos moment. What is it that they're really trying to achieve? Because you're right, the socialism is what they believe in. This entire rioting now, and and I know this sounds confusing. Let me see if I can back it up. So the first summer of love in 2020, right? Isn't that when it was? Was at the end of Trump's presidency when they came in and took over Seattle and all the rioting and everything? That, for the most part, was kind of prompted by George Floyd, right? Where is and because they are the party of identity politics, the black folk are not even involved in this Rent-A-Riot 2.0, 3.0,
It's so funny.
because
They're spamming Twitter left and right. First of all, for them to not go to the streets. Any African American I know, they're telling people to stay out of it. Stay out of it. It's not our fight. Stay out of it. Not only that, somebody tweeted, just somebody like random that I went to high school with today said, it's funny that I get to go outside and ICE isn't sniffing me down because I'm an American. They're literally making fun of the liberal party that they belong to, because it's comical. It's comical what these people are doing. Even the moderate side is going, you're here illegally. You committed a crime. Trump made it a law that it was a law before him, but Trump literally said, it's like they're so shocked that this is happening right now. Since he got out of office in 2016, his agenda was to shut the border back down. He's doing it. Why are people freaking out?
Well, speaking of that, so here is Maze Moore. Shout out to Maze Moore from X, and I want to talk a little bit more about X because Mrs. Producer did make a good point, and I want to reiterate this today. The left continues to believe that they have control over what we see, hear, and read, and yet X has catapulted up to the top as far as news. And, we get to see in real time what so many, like Laura Lomer, the list goes on and on. Les Westerner, did I get that right, Brian?
Western Lensman.
Yeah, Western Lensman. Cat Turd. I credit all these people and I love Cat Turd. No holds bar. Obviously, that's the kind of guy you want to sit in Nashville with and have a beer. But this one from Maze Moore is pretty awesome. Did you guys see this of Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, his campaign ad.
I think it's. Hold on, let me make sure I get it
There's
to
the
load
American
to load up here, so it's large enough. Whatever that was.
and the California dream. There's no Alabama dream. Eat your heart out, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. This is California. The world looks to us to see that it's possible to live, advance, and prosper together across every conceivable difference. It's what makes this state great, that we don't tolerate that diversity as we once had, but we truly can look today and talk in terms of how we celebrate that diversity.
That's how we celebrate that diversity.
In the wise words of Jason Aldean, I dare you to try that in a small town. I do.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly here.
In 2 seconds. The minute somebody broke a window, you'd be put in cuffs faster than you could say Mississippi. I dare them to. I dare them to. That's the problem, is that these democratic states are almost on a different planet than the rest of the United States of America.
Well, in the metropolitan area, as Ryan put up earlier, he had the map of the scatter plot map for all the different places where they plan on the No Kings get out
on Flag Day, on Trump's birthday, military parade,
similar to the Pride, the whole thing, the Trans Day on Easter Sunday.
I wonder
under Biden.
It's going to be 900 people, just like they did. Just like in Illinois at ISU campus, we had close to 3,000 people at the Charlie debate.
Yep.
And not only a day later did they have a protest and only 900 people showed up. It's going to be pissed off old white people with signs. That's all it's going to be. old white liberals.
They're just saying angry women. Yes, they will be there in turning out. Most of them driving Subarus or Priuses, and carrying.
I tried to find the McLean County Democrat Party's Facebook page to see if they were having any events, and I could not find even their page. I had the Young Progressive Democrat. I've been trolling them so bad over the years. I probably did get blocked. I know I'm blocked from all of our representatives in the Democrat Party locally. They don't like me. That's fine. But
What
you're
have
going
you
to
got,
hear it.
Ryan? What have you got down there?
So there's been a shift in support from Trump's policies. Now, even Harry, what's his face on CNN, Harry Enton on CNN is flabbergasted at Trump's support.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way, way, way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. No wonder the Times has written it up the way that he is. Trump is begging for a fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far is working with the American electorate.
Where does immigration rank on issues for him? How is he doing compared to others?
Yeah, so I think what's so important is it is his top issue so far. And the reason it is his top issue is because take a look at the individual nuggets in here. Why are people approving of Trump on immigration, approve of these different immigration actions? Well, Trump's administration's program to deport those here illegally. Look at this, 54% approval. How about agents searching your hometown for those that they think are here illegally? Again, positive territory here, above 50% for Donald Trump. So it's not just on the broad issue of immigration where Trump is doing well. It's on the specifics. When you dive into the issues, Trump is above 50% and his actions are above 50%, at least with those most directly connected to what's going on right now out in Los Angeles.
So Donald Trump, the president, picking a fight on this, and to an extent, you see Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, and the California Governor Gavin Newsom pushing back. So what do voters see in terms of their perceptions of Republicans, the president, or Democrats, say Gavin Newsom, on this issue?
Yeah, the American electorate believe that the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it.
They don't have a clue.
Well,
Karate Man.
that is the karate man. So golly, that is awesome. But here's one thing statistically that Trump has 100% of. He has 100% control of our armed services, of the National Guard. And so anybody that says he doesn't have control of that, he's not declaring war when he will deploy troops within the borders of the United States of America. He doesn't have to have a declaration of war. Now, granted, we discussed this, Hannah, that he needs to pull out the Insurrection Act, and basically call it for what it is, because that's what they want, and that's what they wanted for January 6th of 2021.
It's
now
a
this is the
rebellion,
real
invasion, insurrection, however you want to label it. That act allows the military to come in stronger than just guarding buildings.
The riots are into a week or two plus, and I'll just let you know right now. But with the numbers that you just showed on that video, I'll tell you why they're so high. Because for a very long time, we've had presidents come into term and say they're going to do something and do the exact opposite.
Yes.
This man, since day one that he's been elected, has done everything he said he has. The numbers aren't high because people might not agree with what he's doing. The numbers are high is because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yep. Promises made, promises kept. You can criticize him on other things and things that he said and done before, but he's done everything he said. You can criticize how he's doing it.
He's deporting illegal immigrants.
Yes.
He said he was going to do it.
Yes.
This is not a shock.
He's not a politician.
No. And it's very refreshing. Like I said, most of you I know are already tuned into it. I see the counter up there. Thank you for everyone that's joining us today here at the DPB show. Ryan Mack, Hannah, down below there, the right perspectives. Conservative cat out there doing her thing every day here in Central Illinois. Ty Smith, he's an American hero, as Mark Levin refers to him.
You know, he talks in a regular voice, Dad.
He likes the way he speaks, though.
Who? Mark Levin?
Yeah, it's the 92.9 commercial. That's what he's going for.
Mark Levin does talk. He kind of talks in a regular voice. He does talk up high.
When he
though.
starts getting animated.
He does get animated like you do. But I mean, we're working on this. We're hitting it on all cylinders, and this is something that I think is important because it lends itself statistically that when CNN starts reporting data that shows the favorability of President Donald J. Trump, and this is what we voted for. Everybody, for the most part, on the DPB show today, on the Ryan Mack show, on Hannah's, that's where I was going with this. We all are seeing this thing in real time. And that's what's cool because we can come together live 4 to 5 Tuesdays and Thursdays on the DPB show, or we can be live on Boiling Point live, where we can have conversations from 12 to 2 Monday through Friday, right? No, 10 to 12. I'm sorry.
10 to 12. Yeah.
10 to 12. I don't know what I did. I did a little dyslexia there. 12 to 2, 10 to 12.
There's also a late night evening show if anybody wants to
Is
catch
that
more
7?
content everywhere. It is 8 p.m. every night.
You said late, and I said 7 p.m. See,
Well,
because my bedtime.
For us youngins who can stay up, he does it in Florida, so it's Eastern time. But yeah, 8 to 10. Yeah.
Hey Ryan, you'd be proud of me. We had the Holy Spirit conference from. Shout out to Pastor Timothy James Farrell at the Tabernacle. We had our Holy Spirit conference, the 6th, the 7th, and 8th, and I was actually up until almost 9 o'clock.
Oh my gosh!
For 3 nights in a row, and then I had our executive board meeting for the McLean County Republican Party last night. So that was 4 nights in a row. I'm just beside myself.
God, do we need to have a talk? You're getting a little crazy.
I am. I missed my bed. I missed my bedtime, and it shows. It's impacting me.
Musk and Twitter really quick, if that's okay with you. I think what's really interesting is that the whole reason that the Democratic Party is pushing as hard as possible is because they know that AI is coming in a stronghold, and Trump is investing trillions of dollars. And you want to know why? You can't be biased with artificial intelligence. And the only story that Gavin Newsom and Maxine Waters have, the only chokehold they have, this. I don't even want to talk.
I want to pull that video of her trying to get in.
I'll do my impression. Mostly peaceful. You got it. You got it. You got it. We got nothing. What are you talking about? Do you see the car bombs? They're literally ordering Ubers and setting them on fire. But back to my point. You can't be biased with AI.
Yes.
And the more that we invest, the more the truth comes out.
Yep.
The only stronghold they have is to tweet and hope that CNN picks it up and to push it out to the people that are actually watching. That's the only control they have. The only reason that X is number 1 is because of Grok. And because you literally in time can fact check people. That's never been seen before. Up until this year. And the whole reason that everybody is shifting to the middle and to the right is because I literally can pull up my phone and people go, oh, it's mostly peaceful. Really? Here's a video. It's mostly peaceful. Really? Here's a report. Here's all of these things that are going on. You cannot say something and say, oh, well, he's illegally doing this. Really? Title 10. Oh, he's illegally doing this. Really? Or, oh, the National Guard wasn't called on January 6th. Really? Here's evidence.
Oh, that was great. Nancy Pelosi. Nancy, I mean, well, like I said.
Yeah, and her own video in a car.
But not even that.
But the thing is that the fact that they think.
Requested the National Guard.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that they don't think that this.
At the arms in parking garages, and they sat there. There's evidence everywhere.
Yes. Well, I think that's why it's different this time around. Trump wasn't waiting for the states to make a move.
Yeah.
He knew that this time around he could federalize the Guard to help, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Right. As he should have. Like, he didn't do it the first time. He let it burn because that was on them.
if he hadn't done it, Trump would have been I can't
Yes.
believe he wanted
Yes.
7 people to protect these.
Yeah.
He saw, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
it's a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
It's a double-edged sword when it comes to the Democratic Party.
Well, the AI piece is, you have hit upon it, and I know there's a lot of chatter about what artificial intelligence will do going forward. One of the things that Bongino used to say, and I'm so glad that Dan handled that last year, because he didn't know where he was going to end up. I think he was pretty certain he would end up in the Trump administration, but he covered this a lot because it is the real fact checker. AI has taken things to a whole new level. We were talking about this last night in our executive board meeting at the Republican Party. It's funny, us old timers are sitting around the table talking about how we've got to make sure you youngins are coming up to speed. You guys are so far ahead of us, light years, and artificial intelligence. When we start talking about software programs to identify unreliable voters, data programs, artificial intelligence will basically do that at your fingertip for a block group. I mean, you will be able to see in real time, okay, I live in XYZ state, and I want to know who are the unreliable voters, how many voters are there, and you'll be able to have all that data, and it will not allow them to keep voters on the voter roll
But
who don't exist
here's the other
anymore.
thing. You took the most moderate man I've ever listened to in my life, Joe Rogan. You
Yeah.
took moderate, one of the most, if anything, liberal, to the point where I didn't agree with him until probably, I always agreed with what he said, but Robert Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, you took all of those people who knew that they couldn't stand behind the Democratic Party anymore because they
Mhm.
literally were denying factual evidence to push an agenda. Where I can type China, COVID, into ChatGPT, and I find out every single thing I need to know.
Wow.
And so the problem with it is that the more, it's so funny because the more I dive into AI and the more that factually based evidence, it's cross-referencing 500 sites at the same time if you ask it to. The more I dive into factual evidence, the more right-leaning I become. The more
Funny how that happens.
I dive in and I believe the media, I could stay moderate for the rest of my life.
Well, I'm interested in finding out what Chat GPT or AI would say about the Rent-A-Riots of this year, because that is the big thing, right? We're seeing the pictures, and you take it with a grain of salt. I get it. There's a bill of lading, bill of lading, for pallets of bricks to be dropped off. You can't just ship things around the United States, and it's hard to do it because the bricks came from somewhere, right? But I'd like to know who is funding the Rent-A-Riots. We kind of know. I mean, we're piecing this thing together. They're collaborating. They're not hiding it anymore. They're making themselves very transparent, which is a good thing. And I like that when this is all said and done, I think AI will uncover a lot of the truth about how this all materialized when it did, because it was strategic. They didn't do it in the first month that President Trump was in office. They didn't do it in the first 100 days. But I know that if you've tuned into the DPB show or the Ryan Mack show or to Hannah, we've been talking about this for a while now. We knew something was coming, right? We weren't going to skirt through the Trump presidency, and it was going to be, everything was going to be green lighted by the Democrat Party, the radical left party. We knew they were going to mount a counteroffense. We just didn't know what it was. Now we kind of do know what it is. They're going to deny, lie, destroy, say that everything's mostly a peaceful protest, and blah 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 blah. And so they've already kind of telegraphed where things are going to go in the next few months. I'm going to be interested to find out because I believe this is going to be put down quickly, and you're going to hear them screech about it. I said this last night. You guys know about Kent State, right? In
Yes,
Ohio, back
I've heard about it. Yeah.
in the Vietnam era, right?
Mhm.
They called the National Guard in. The students were protesting,
Yep.
and somehow, somewhere, guns started firing, and people died, right? And that's what they want. They want carnage in the street. In fact, they even tell these people that they're paying, these paid insurrectionist agitators, that this job pays very well, but you got to realize there's some danger involved in it. And unfortunately, that danger is one of these folks that, believes they're a righteous activist is going to die. In fact, I believe that's what's ahead. That's what
Well,
we're going to see.
maybe they shouldn't be chucking concrete rocks at police officers, and they wouldn't have gotten shot in the head.
Yeah.
I mean, until that starts happening, they're not going to learn a lesson. You are throwing objects that are lethal at police officers doing their
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
That is assault. That is assault with a deadly weapon. You deserve the consequences.
Yeah.
They're going to call you a Nazi either way. So I think you should go in and use the full tilt of the law. If you throw anything at officers deemed a weapon, you should be shot.
Yeah.
I'm
If you
sorry.
if you impede a law enforcement officer doing his job, you should immediately be put into the paddy wagon with them and arrested. I'm getting tired of watching them push these people. Stop pushing these people. Just throw them in a paddy wagon.
Literally went on Broadway. If you are too drunk on Broadway, you get arrested.
Right.
You flip off an officer, you get arrested. If you go up to one and accidentally bump them, you're put in handcuffs and detained until they figure out why you did it.
Drop a chair off a rooftop.
No, that too. That was immediate handcuffs for every good reason. And now the man is 1 year sober.
Yeah.
But and that'll make you change your life for sure when you chuck a folding chair off of a balcony. Anyway,
$15,000 per day.
Chuck a folding chair off a balcony and not hit anybody. Almost hit a cop, not hit anybody. You're put in jail. But God forbid you throw a brook over an overpass and damage 15 cop cars. No prison for you, buddy.
Yep. You get a high five.
Oh my gosh.
$15,000.
Yeah.
There are
Craigslist ads.
I want to be there.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we could. I would go and start arresting people for $15,000 per day. I think we should do a counter offensive, and just have people like me going out there, ordinary people, and just starting.
But here's another thing. You can't do that in a Democrat. Here's the problem. You're going to go out there, and the first person they're going to arrest in Illinois, in California, in New York, in major cities, the first person they're going to arrest at is not the illegal immigrant that's hurting the cop. It's going to be it's going to be you trying to defend the people that are defenseless, which sadly in this case are police.
Right. I hear Kyle Rittenhouse is looking for a job.
That's going to be arrested. You're going to be a Kyle Rittenhouse, and you're going to be made to look like anything. You're going to go through a court case and then somehow be not guilty because he did nothing wrong. Now, if you Tennessee, that's a different thing. I mean every sheriff of a conservative run county. If you come here, you break the law, you're going to be arrested. There's no input. LAPD tiptoed around it for too long, and now they're we maybe need some help. Well, no crap.
Yeah.
Also, in that, here's the thing. Sadly, in Illinois, Dad, you're going to be put in cuffs. If you're in Tennessee, if you're in South Carolina, if you're in Kentucky, it's a conservative or it's a constitutional carry state. You defend what you have to do.
It is the divided states of America in a lot of ways, and obviously this is evidence that we are divided. And you know what? It is sad. It is sad. I'm hopeful that we can still get these things back on track.
Mm-hmm.
I do appreciate you guys joining me today on the DPB show, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 4 to 5. We're live here on X, Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. That is the Ryan Mack of the Ryan Mack Show. That is my daughter Hannah of The Right Perspective. Go out. The content's out there. Subscribe, like. Boiling Point Live is out there 10 to 2. Go out. That's an awesome site. I know that Ryan's got a lot of people here today that have joined us. Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate you kind of collaborating and bringing people in. One of the things we do that maybe your audience isn't used to, I always like to say a prayer, because Lord knows we need to pray about what is happening in our country. And Hannah, that's how I always defer to you. I can pray if you'd like me to, honey, but I always like it when you pray.
Sure.
Okay.
Father God, we lift up everything, Lord. We lift up all of this crazy times and just in your name, Lord, because only you can bring healing to this country, Lord. And I think that that's what's going on, is that our eyes are being deterred from you. The devil is stepping in California and everywhere and trying to create a divide, Lord. And if we don't turn to you now, it will continue to do this. So I put your name on everybody's heart in California, that they realize that, all we want in this world is peace, Lord, that if you do wrongdoing, that there are consequences, but everything is just in your name, Lord. I lift up all of the soldiers across the world who are fighting for our country, that they have seen their flag be just lit
Desecrated.
up, Lord, and Lord, that they keep fighting, even though sometimes the people of their homeland do not respect them, Lord, that they could just keep your name in their sights, and that they're just doing it for you, God. I just lift up all of the missing children in the world, the thousands and thousands that Trump has already identified and will keep identifying, that is a number one priority of, the government in the United States, Lord. I just lift up all of the people who are just looking and are confused by the media and are hearing different things, that it is a peaceful protest, Lord, even though we've seen the exact opposite, and just lead people into the light and into the truth, Lord. And that we just keep lifting your name up in these uncertain times, and that we know that sometimes there is trials before there is celebration, Lord, and we know the celebration will be in your name, God, and that the trials that we're experiencing now are for the right reasons, Lord, and we just push that forward in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Amen.
Hannah. There's a lot there. You're right. We seem to be I don't think any of us wanted to be where we're at today. And I think we've got to go to our knees.
Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was president?
That to me, a Kamala presidency. I do believe.
I don't think we'd be talking. I think I'd be driving up with all of my guns to your house and building a fortress. And
I think that there would be so much going on in the world. I'm just thankful that she's not, but I'm also thankful that we're able to expose this with platforms like this, like social media, that still is an open source of free thinkers, ideas, people sharing opinions, and making sure that if we see something, not only do we say something, but we do something. It's just not good enough anymore to say something. We've got to be people that are doers, as the scripture says, doers of the words, just not hearers of the words, just not reporters. We all have to take an active role, because there are going to be times ahead of us. And I think the best way to handle it is let the law enforcement, let the National Guard, let the Marines, let the people who are trained with handling these agitators do it. No one needs to go out and put themselves at
that's where that got you. He became president again. Keep doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Well, bad guy. I don't know what kind of storytale ending you guys want, but the one that you did back in 2020 got him elected in 2024. So if you guys want to keep making him the bad guy, go right ahead.
And
2028. Can't
And
wait for Tulsi Gabbard in 2032. Can't just keep the train coming. Keep
Yep.
it. Making
Well,
it-
it is. I mean, we know that statistically, as Brian pointed out in the CNN video, we're on the right side of things. And the reason we're on the right side of things is because that's where truth is. And if you don't have truth, then you're right. You're living a lie. And we don't want to live lies. And that is a good way to say, I love you.
I love you guys.
I love you.
And Jesus loves you more. Until next time, we bid you all farewell.